Welcome everyone. Before we jump into the operational timeline today, I just want to ask you a really quick favor.
Yeah, please do.
Whether you are watching us on YouTube right now or listening to the audio feed, please take a second to like this video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and please subscribe to our channel.
It really makes a huge difference for us.
It does. It helps us keep bringing you these deep dives. So let's unpack this. Today, we are taking a deep dive into an absolutely massive and honestly sudden operational shift happening right now in Crimea.
Sudden is almost an understatement.
Right. And looking at the raw metrics, the sheer speed and the tactical execution of what we are about to discuss is mathematically staggering. I mean, for years, the narrative presented to the world was that Crimea was
the unsinkable aircraft carrier.
Exactly, the unsinkable aircraft carrier. It was touted as an impregnable fortress, shielded by some of the most sophisticated, densely packed air defense networks on the planet. But now, according to the data I have, that carefully crafted structural reality is completely unraveling.
Unraveling very publicly, I might add.
Yeah, it has rapidly transitioned from this impenetrable fortress into what can only be described as an inescapable firing range.
It really is a profound doctrinal shift. We are looking at the math, the geography, and the military realities on the ground, and the contradiction here is just glaring.
It's incredible to watch.
You have a military apparatus claiming to possess the most advanced, multi-layered air defense architecture globally, yet it finds itself fundamentally unable to secure its own early warning radar installations.
Which is wild.
It is a textbook example of systemic failure. It's where the theory of invincibility meets the friction of modern, decentralized warfare.
And that systemic failure is exactly why you, the listener, should care about this deep dive. Because this isn't just about moving abstract lines on a map or, tracking daily skirmishes.
Right, it's much bigger than that.
What we are looking at is a masterclass in systematically dismantling a billion-dollar, Tier 1 global defense network, layer by layer. The coordination required to pull this off is just fascinating from a purely military science perspective.
It really is.
To really understand how this fortress was taken apart, we have to look at the opening moves. So, according to the data I have, the entire sequence began on the night of February 19th. This was the first move to sever the central nervous system of the peninsula.
Which makes perfect tactical sense.
Right.
Before you can safely dismantle mainland defense architectures, you have to blind the early warning and intelligence gathering networks. You simply cannot strike the body until you take out the eyes and ears.
And they did exactly that. Massive unmanned aerial vehicle swarm attacks just blanketed the sky. They were targeting the floating intelligence centers out at sea, and the primary target was the Ivan Kurs.
Formerly known under Project 18280.
Yeah, Project 8280. To give you some context on this wasn't just a standard warship. This was a medium-sized reconnaissance vessel, one of only 2 in the entire Russian Navy.
Highly specialized.
It was essentially a floating, highly advanced brain. Its entire job was to gather signal intelligence, jam incoming drone signals, and relay battlefield data from the Black Sea directly to the Kremlin.
And the doctrinal irony here is what really stands out to me.
Well, absolutely.
You have a specialized vessel whose primary strategic mission includes complex electronic warfare and aggressively jamming drones. Yet it was heavily damaged by a swarm of the very same unmanned aerial vehicles it was specifically designed to neutralize.
It's crazy.
It points to a deep systemic flaw in how these legacy systems handle saturation attack. Modern drone swarms can be pre-programmed to operate autonomously.
Right, they don't even need the radio frequencies.
Exactly. They operate without relying on the specific frequencies the ship is actively jamming.
Right.
Or they simply overwhelm the tracking channels through sheer numbers.
Yeah.
If a specialized intelligence ship cannot protect itself against the specific threats it was built to counter,
Then the whole umbrella is practically useless.
the entire defensive umbrella is compromised.
And the aftermath of this strike is quite telling too. The operational reports show this heavily damaged floating brain had to be physically towed into Holland Bay in Sevastopol.
Barely making it back.
Yeah, the bridge was destroyed, the funnel was damaged, and the critical mast housing all those specialized antennas was suddenly surrounded by scaffolding and the attempted public relations fix.
Oh, this part is just...
They draped basic camouflage netting over the forward deck to try and hide the damage. I mean, it's a bit like putting a Band-Aid on a massive structural failure and hoping satellite imagery somehow won't notice the giant hole in the deck.
It's a classic example of legacy military thinking, failing to cope with the reality of persistent overhead surveillance.
Yeah, everyone can see it.
But if we connect this to the bigger operational picture, it raises a highly critical point. This ship was docked in Sevastopol.
Which is a heavily fortified naval base.
Historically, yes. So if a premier intelligence-gathering vessel is not safe, even when anchored inside its own defended harbor, is there a single square meter of water left in the entire Black Sea that can truly be considered safe for that fleet?
Based on the timeline, the answer seems to be a hard no, because just 2 days later, on February 21st, the strikes continued to trip away those specific defensive layers.
They diversified the target sets.
They did. 2 Okhotnik Border Patrol ships and 2 B-12 anti-submarine aircraft were neutralized.
The Okhotnik class are rapid reaction surface units.
Right, meant to prevent coastal infiltration. And the B-12s are the specialized amphibious aircraft used to hunt submarine. It's really like watching a surgeon methodically remove a patient's armor. They stripped away the specialized patrol and anti-submarine capabilities almost overnight.
We have to analyze this critically, though. This is not random harassment fire.
No, not at all.
Or opportunistic targeting. This is the deliberate, systematic blinding of localized defense layers. And we see this wider coordination perfectly illustrated by an event that happened in the exact same window.
You're talking about the Tornado S system.
Yes, the destruction of the Tornado S multiple rocket launcher system.
The strike on that Tornado S system is mathematically staggering. According to the data, a tactical drone intercepted the mobile launcher right in the middle of a full salvo in the Zaporizhia sector.
Right in the middle of the launch.
It caused a catastrophic secondary explosion that just obliterated the fully loaded satellite-guided rockets. I mean, hitting a moving target during an active launch sequence requires a level of real-time coordination that is incredibly difficult to pull off.
It perfectly demonstrates a highly compressed, integrated kill chain.
Actually, for those who might not be familiar with that specific term, can you unpack what a kill chain actually entails in this context?
Certainly. A kill chain is the sequence of events an attacking force goes through to neutralize a target.
Step by step.
Right. You have to find it, fix its location, track its movement, target it with a specific weapon, engage, and then assess the damage. Historically, that process could take hours.
Or even days in older conflicts.
Exactly. To hit a mobile rocket system mid-salvo means the attacker compressed that entire chain into seconds, or maybe a few minutes.
Wow.
It requires instantaneous communication between the drone spotting the launch and the strike unit delivering the payload. It proves that the defensive shield is not just leaking.
It's failing.
It is fundamentally failing across multiple domains simultaneously, allowing enemy intelligence to operate completely unchecked.
We're about to look at how this collapse moved from the sea directly to the coastline. But before we do, a quick reminder to you listening. If you're enjoying this deep dive so far, please don't forget to like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us.
Please do.
Right, so looking at the coastline on February 23rd, this is where we see the neutralization of maritime leverage. A massive coordinated attack hits the elite 15th separate coastal missile brigade of the Black Sea Fleet.
This is a highly critical development in the broader strategic theater. This elite brigade operated the sophisticated Bastion coastal defense systems.
Those are the heavy hitters?
Yes. These are platforms designed to launch supersonic anti-ship missiles from land, effectively creating a massive no-go zone across the water.
Right, so what does neutralizing those specific batteries actually mean for the region overall?
It means the entire power dynamic of the Black Sea shift. These Bastion systems were one of the primary instruments of maritime leverage.
Okay.
They were used to dictate ship traffic, threaten civilian shipping routes, and exert immense pressure on crucial grain export ports.
So they were holding the economy hostage, essentially.
Precisely. By taking out these land-based batteries, that sea-to-Nile leverage just evaporates. Furthermore, it means the naval fleet must now navigate with extreme caution, even when operating right next to its own shores.
Because they have no cover.
Exactly. You have a geographic peninsula that is now highly vulnerable to amphibious operations simply because its coastal defense network has collapsed.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the pinnacle strike of this entire sequence. February 25th. Here's where it gets really interesting. We're talking about a surgical strike by Ukraine's medium strike unit directly on the S-400 Triumph complex.
The crown jewel.
Yes, this system is considered the crown jewel of Russian military engineering. We are talking about an asset with a market value of roughly $1 billion.
A massive investment.
And they didn't just hit a random launcher somewhere in a field. They specifically neutralized the 92 N6E radar station.
The 92N6E, often referred to by its NATO reporting name Gravestone, is the central nervous system of that complex. An S-400 battery is a massive, interconnected organism of command vehicles, power arrays, and missile launchers.
Right, it's not just one truck.
Exactly. And that specific multifunction phased array radar acts as the eyes. It is theoretically supposed to track hundreds of targets simultaneously, everything from high-altitude strategic bombers to incoming ballistic missiles. Destroying it literally blinds the air defense in that entire sector.
Imagine holding the sharpest sword in the room, a weapon capable of striking anyone down, but your eyes are completely blindfolded. That analogy perfectly summarizes the tactical reality here.
It's a very apt comparison.
But wait, if the S-400 is essentially the ultimate air defense system, how does a medium strike unit even get close enough to take out its radar? I mean, isn't that what the system is built to prevent?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question. In standard military doctrine, an S-400 never operates alone. It is designed primarily for long-range, high-altitude threats.
Right, looking up high.
Because its radar horizon can be exploited by low-flying objects, it is supposed to be protected by shorter-range systems specifically tasked with swatting down low-altitude drone swarms.
And looking at the data here, that's exactly where the failure cascaded. The Panzer S-1 system, which was stationed there specifically to protect the S-400 from those low-altitude threats, was also destroyed in the exact same operation.
It's a compounding failure.
The guard assigned to protect the protector failed completely.
This raises an incredibly important point, and it's one we really have to look at from a global, macroeconomic perspective. The strategic fallout here extends far beyond the immediate geography of Crimea.
You mean regarding arms sales?
Exactly. This specific S-400 architecture, along with the Panzer Point defense systems, has been actively marketed around the world as a Tier 1 global defense pack.
Right, they sell these to other countries.
So how does a defense contractor maintain its reputation in the international arms market when its flagship product cannot even guarantee its own survival?
It's a billion-dollar economic blow playing out in front of the whole world.
Precisely. Nations like India, China, and Turkey, who have historically invested heavily in these exact systems or evaluated them for future purchase, are undoubtedly watching this play out.
They have to be.
They are monitoring these vulnerabilities with intense scrutiny. You are watching a flagship defense product fail to intercept the very threats it was designed, heavily marketed, and sold to eliminate. It's a significant disruption in the broader global military balance.
It forces a complete reevaluation of ground-based air defense doctrines worldwide.
Without a doubt.
And the systemic collapse we are seeing in the data isn't just limited to the high-tech radar systems and the naval ships. They are methodically going after the basic logistical arteries of the entire military machine.
The boring stuff that wins wars.
Right. According to the data, almost simultaneously with the radar strikes, massive ammunition depots near Nizhnya Krinka and dedicated UAV command centers in the Pokrovsk sector were heavily targeted and destroyed. They are completely dismantling the supply chains from the rear echelon.
Which brings us to the human element. And this is something that is too often overlooked when we focus strictly on the hardware and the kill chain. We have to consider the psychological toll this takes on the personnel.
It has to be devastating.
Think about the mindset of the soldiers stationed on that peninsula. For years, they have been subjected to a strict doctrine and internal conditioning that told them they were completely protected.
Untouched.
They believed they were operating under an invincible, impenetrable dome provided by the world's most advanced air defense architecture.
And now they're dealing with strikes from the sky almost every single night.
Exactly. They are watching the S-400 systems they implicitly trusted turn to ash. They are seeing specialized intelligence ships crippled in supposedly secure harbors.
Yeah.
When a soldier realizes that the immediate defense line they are relying on could spontaneously collapse at literally any given moment, it irreversibly undermines internal discipline.
It just shatters morale.
It shatters the core will to sustain the fight. You simply cannot maintain an effective, cohesive fighting force when the foundational myth of their security has been proven mathematically false.
And that shattered illusion bleeds right into the civilian population too. The socioeconomic crash detailed in the operational reports is severe. You have tens of thousands of civilians who relocated to this region over the last decade, completely buying into the state narrative that this was a prosperous, permanently safe haven.
A resort destination, essentially.
Yeah. And now, they're waking up to a totally different reality. Instead of peaceful holiday resorts, the environment is dominated by constant, piercing air raid sirens and heavily armed military cordons.
The illusion of complete economic and social stability has been dismantled by the physical realities on the ground. You cannot spin your way out of daily infrastructure strikes.
The numbers back that up completely. The data points to plummeting local real estate prices, a collapsing civilian economy, and massive, severe daily congestion on the Kerch Bridge.
People are just trying to get out.
They are desperately trying to flee. The structural capacity of that bridge is being pushed to its absolute limits because the narrative that everything is proceeding according to plan is dead to the general public.
But the crisis extends even beyond the aerial bombardments and psychological panic. If we analyze the logistical data, we see a massive, deeply rooted resource crisis eating away at the peninsula from the inside out.
It's structural decay.
Leading geopolitical analysts are pointing out that this region is slowly transitioning into a structurally isolated military ghetto.
A military ghetto. Man, that perfectly describes the fuel situation right now. According to the sources, essential AI-95 grade gasoline and commercial diesel reserves are severely depleted across multiple districts.
Just gone.
To clarify for you listening, AI-95 is a high-octane, unleaded fuel that is absolutely critical for modern light utility vehicles, civilian transport, and certain military generators.
I can't run an economy without it.
Right. And in major centers like Simferopol, you can't even buy standard gasoline on the open market anymore. The state has had to implement heavily restricted rationing coupons.
Which always sparks panic.
And the fuel that does manage to trickle in has skyrocketed to 90 rubles. Local digital community channels are filled with panic, with residents begging to know where all the fuel went.
It highlights a critical systemic vulnerability. The entire underlying supply network of that geographic peninsula depends almost exclusively on limited road transport and one heavily targeted, highly vulnerable bridge.
The Kerch Bridge.
Right. Rail capacity can only handle so much, and when that primary transit route is subjected to kinetic attacks or massive civilian evacuation traffic, the entire region structurally ceases to function as a sustainable living space.
It just chokes.
The logistics chain simply cannot bear the multi-domain load.
And if the fuel crisis wasn't bad enough, the water crisis is where things get truly alarming. Following the destruction of the Kakovka Dam, the northern agricultural sectors were hit by an unforgiving drought. But now, it's hitting the civilian population and the military directly.
This is the breaking point.
The data states that people are experiencing genuine panic because they're being deprived of reliable access to clean drinking water.
This is the specific vulnerability that causes the most profound strategic anxiety for any military command. We are talking about the most basic, non-negotiable necessity for human biological survival.
Right, you can't fight if you're dying of thirst.
Ammunition can be rationed, fuel can be substituted or prioritized. But from a strictly operational perspective, a lack of water is a hard stop. It is a logistical nightmare.
Let's look at the math on this because the numbers here are just staggering. There are roughly 60,000 active duty soldiers currently stationed across this geographic area.
And according to rigid military logistics standards, a single soldier operating in a forward deployment zone requires an average of 80 to 100 liters of clean water every single day.
Wait, 80 to 100 liters per day?
Yeah.
For one person?
Yeah.
That seems incredibly high.
Well, that volume isn't just for drinking. An army consumes water at an astonishing rate. It's required for maintaining basic hygiene to prevent devastating disease outbreaks in concentrated camps.
Okay, that makes sense.
It is needed for preparing daily food rations, and critically, it is required for the physical cooling of heavily utilized military equipment, artillery systems, and vehicle radiators.
Wow, I hadn't even thought of the equipment cooling.
When you run the numbers for 60,000 soldiers, you are looking at nearly 6 million liters of water required daily just to keep the military functioning at a baseline level.
6 million liters. Every day.
Every single day. And with the systematic collapse of the logistical supply lines we discussed earlier, the actual volume of water reaching these forward operating bases is now severely limited.
It's just incredible to think about the sheer scale of that logistical burden. What started in the public narrative as this grand myth of an unthinkable high-tech fortress has, according to the data, completely unraveled.
It has.
It has devolved into a ruthless, exhausting daily struggle for basic biological survival and sheer logistical panic. The precision used to methodically dismantle the radar systems, the naval ships, the fuel reserves, and the water supply is just a fascinating study in modern operational tactics.
It will be studied in war colleges acknowledges for decades.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end of our analysis for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. As always, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and drop a comment below letting us know what stood out to you the most.
I'd like to leave you with one final thought to consider based on the operational data we've analyzed today. If a region touted as the ultimate billion-dollar military fortress can be systematically dismantled layer by layer until even basic drinking water becomes vulnerability, what does this tell us of the future of heavily fortified, isolated military outposts in the modern age drone war? Think about it.